Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and welcome and welcome. Hey, I'm the Diva D from Carved Out Divas, and
April Kawa, April's Beauty Bar,
all right, and together we are Diversity
and Equity.
in Education, and we are being hosted by the fantastic and phenomenal Bianca Goolsby with Teaching for the Culture. Good evening, everybody, and how you feeling this Sunday, this first Sunday in August, as we get ready to dive in. Many of us have had our pre-planning first day start last Friday, whether it was in school or whether it was virtual. April, how was yours?
Mine was virtual from home, so I was good. For the most part, I will say that it's still very evident that site administrators were not given a very concrete plan. So therefore, everything is kind of the normal of, going through the basics of welcome back, everyone. This is what you can expect this year, we think. Yeah, it was very different, very different.
Yes, ours. We had this was. I'm pleased to say we were also virtual. We even though we originally were scheduled to come in, it was switched to virtual. And the one thing that stood out, of course, was in the absence of us all being on campus, meetings were incredibly short because I mean you can't keep people there for half a day in a media center talking. So every department gets to speak for 20 minutes. That was all gone. So it was pretty much just an introduction to the admin, faculty, of course, a whole bunch of new faculty. Everybody had to introduce themselves, what they taught, and we pretty much just really went over the fact that we're going to try and start it up on Monday with, and we were given our agenda for the week, for the pre-planning week, and talk about our professional development, which we have to take tomorrow. And pretty much that was it. It wasn't, you couldn't really do a whole lot. I mean, I think when we like last year and all previous years, you were able to go inside your classroom and work. Of course, there was none of that this time. So, and I think the concern
At
also
your
too
site,
is
because
at my site. That's correct.
yeah, at my site, yes, there were several individuals that were on campus and they were doing things in their rooms. Now, being that I don't know what they could have been doing, I won't make assumptions.
Right.
But they were doing things because, in all actuality, books and all that stuff, we don't even know what direction we're going in. So I don't know what they could have been doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of feedback as it relates to the cleanliness of the actual site. I didn't get into that because it wasn't my monster to attack.
Right.
So I just kind of stay out of it to keep my head space as clear as I could. So that anxiety does not, overwhelm me with the unknown of what to expect. So I just stayed, focused on what I could, be a part of as effective as I could. But there were people on campus at my site.
Mm-hmm.
In their classrooms because they were
right.
Zooming from their rooms.
Okay, and that was the other question too. So the concern then is when people do return to school, are we prepared? Being that what are we doing from the time that because the kids don't come back to school till the 24th. So what happens in that space of time? Normally for us, pre-planning would be a 5-day stretch. We would just go in there, we do, have our team meetings, we would have our what do you call it again? We'd have our department meetings, we'd meet with the SAL, we'd be discussing our curriculum, we would do all those things like that. But what are we doing now with this gap? And some questions that popped up, of course, would be things like, for example, coming from bus drivers and coming from custodial staff as well as cafeteria staff. Well, do we even get paid? This is a long window of time where we would have started work, but now we're not going to work until the 24th. So what happens then? These are the type of questions that are up in the air. And though that leads us to a document that was created by Teaching for the Culture. And it is on, what's the platform again? Padlet, right? The Padlet platform. So tell us a little something about that, April. Go ahead.
Well, I am unfamiliar with Padlet. You were sharing with me what Padlet actually was. You and another one of the teaching for the cultural. I can't even talk. Teacher for the culture members. You all basically introduced that to me, but from what I understand, if I, April Cobb, decided to go on to Padlet, I could anonymously share my thoughts and opinions and experiences about whatever I choose as it relates to the education involvement, here in Hillsborough County. It is not trackable. It's not traceable. There's no input of your email address. There's no input of your phone number, your contact information, your name. None of that is there unless you actually want to put it there. Now, we will say this. The ultimate purpose behind that is, and I don't even really think about that because I have people asking this all the time, like, Teacher for the Culture. Are y'all a part of Teacher for the Culture? Are y'all not? What do you all do? Da 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 da. Touch your noses. That's what I'm gonna tell y'all. Touch your noses. And if you can't figure it out, with that, that's on you. But because remember, we are employees of Hillsborough County Public Schools.
True.
So I will say this: the ultimate purpose behind the document is for anyone to speak freely about how they are feeling, being treated, or their experiences are impacting them, whether it be positive or in the negative, as it relates to them personally in the district. And because there's retaliation that happens. It has happened.
Right.
And we just don't want to see any teacher, undergo a situation like that just because they want to express their experience. And I think we so quickly forget that it's their experience. It's not a lie. They're not making it up. And people want to quickly say, or individuals or teachers that choose to be closed mouth, act like things aren't happening. They want to say, you're just negative. No, I'm just real.
Right. There you go.
It real.
That's right. That's right.
I don't take and do to try to get where I'm going.
As we say, covered in sprinkles and rainbows and unicorns. Exactly. No, we live in the real world. And so just to piggyback on what April just said, is that Padlet is one of those tools, like, for example, in class, if you just want to do a quick survey and you don't have time to, go through, poll all the kids like that, it's an anonymous thing where, like, say I asked a question, like a hot question, or I asked something that, okay, for kids, okay, do you think that if somebody was, say, for example, if someone accidentally harmed another person to save their family member, do you think that that's right or that's wrong? And they would just put in either yes, no, and they put their opinion in, and they wouldn't even know who it is because it's just that their opinion is just group poll to figure out what's going on, and then from there you teach the lesson. So, but this is what Padlet is, same concept, but this time it's just for asking people what's your input. It's basically a temperature check, just like the same temperature check they want to use, the little monitor thing. It is a temperature check right now to see how people are feeling about the decisions that are being made right now in terms of education. As we can see, day after day after day, we see two things increasing. One, we see the number of cases of COVID increasing. Right now, they say California is number one now. And then we also see increases in the younger people who are being affected. There was an article that was posted earlier today that said that young people between the ages of 5 and 17 are major spreaders, not to say they're carriers, but they're the major spreaders of it. Well, guess what? 5 through 17 is the age group that goes to school. So let me stop for a second.
That we didn't even have to ask for a leg. Run across.
Take flight. So, that science. Anyway, so again, please feel free to go ahead and take a look at that Padlet. And there's also, by the way, another random anonymous survey that, when we as teachers are being evaluated, there's a scale.
It ain't random. Hold on, let's fix that. It ain't random. It's anonymous.
It's anonymous.
It ain't random. It was very strategic.
Strategic. So, for example, when teachers are being evaluated, there's things on a scale of the lowest score you can get is an RA, which means required action. The highest you can get is exemplary. And in between, you have progressing. And is there another? What was the other one after the progressive? I think progressive
exemplary. It actually goes require action.
Accomplish.
Require action. Accomplish. Mm-hmm. No, require action, progressing, accomplish, and then exemplary.
Okay, mm-hmm. So then we put up the school board members, and then there was 3 or 4 questions based on performance, just like how we as teachers we get evaluated on performance. Our different domains, domain 1 running through domain 4, and the questions were posed and. We wanted to know, hey, listen, do they require action? Is it possible that they, are achieving their goal? Are they progressing, or are they, are they exemplary? And the results are quite astounding. So you too can also check that out over there on Teaching for the Culture. Check that page out and find out. But you have to understand, we vote on August 18th. That's specific. I think it's August 18th. And we're voting, we need to vote in that election, which is our local election, which is very important because it affects you directly. as well as voting for president that we need to vote for in November. So please take your time. Take your time. Look, and you know what? Look at the questions carefully. Really look at the question because they're thought provoking. They encourage, because what we try to do is encourage you to think before you go to vote. Don't just vote because my friend voting and my cousin voting this way and my uncle voting this way. No, we have to see because sheep have to be led. You know, understand? But lions and wolves, they seek out prey. So you got to start thinking to yourself, I got to look and do the research for myself. So just, take a moment and run that across your eyeballs and read the survey and see what's going on. April, what you got to say?
And to go back to the actual survey for the school board members, again, the questions were very intentional and strategic because they're based on the responsibilities of a board member. So basically the responsibility list was basically broken down into individualized questions, and they were the key most important ones that were identified. Not all of the responsibilities are listed there, but they're the ones that need the most attention as it relates to what's currently going on right now in our school district, like the budget. But we're not going to talk about that much. But that's one of the key elements that they're responsible for. And it seems as though that just fell to the wayside. No one really wants to attest to what happened. There's different versions of what could have possibly happened. And in all actuality, us in the community, you're just regular Joe Schmoes and Janets, we really don't understand any of it. However, somebody does. And she broke it down for you all to see. Right. The question becomes, do you choose to have on eyeglasses that your vision is clear? You want to put on those rose-colored lenses, or you going to put on some blackouts? You're going to put on straight-up blackouts, the dog boys. It's up to you. It's your choice. But please know that you cannot ignore the facts.
Right.
You want facts? That's what you're given every time. So just to be clear, both surveys are a safe space for educators to share their thoughts. It doesn't require sign-in or collection of any identifiable data. So therefore, you're safe in both you're safe on both platforms to share your opinion. And we hope those opinions are based on facts.
Mm-hmm. And so on the page itself, you want to go ahead and take a look at the information that's on there. The details about it are on there. The links is also on there as well. Okay, and just think about this when you think about voting and things like that. Look at it for the past couple of years. You should ask yourself these questions: has my child gone to school in a hot classroom any time in the past 4 years? Okay, has my child had to ride a bus that didn't have air conditioning? What kind of lunch has my child been served? Just keep thinking about those type of things. When you go and you start voting, it's like, you know what?
And look, let's ask a few more. Has my child been suspended by something petty that they said their classmate didn't get into the same type of trouble as they did?
Right.
Did my child sit in ISS every day with no structured learning environment, even though it's supposed to be that happening even in ISS? Mm-hmm. Has my child been sent home for short shorts, but the girl sitting right next to her that don't have the same shape that my child does, she's, required to either change clothes or whatever it may be, but the other child is not because they don't have the same, body shape? Ask those questions. Has children within my family that go to certain schools or in a certain district, do you notice a distinctive difference between their school experience and the other child's school experience? Ask those questions. And if you have answers that don't align with what your vision is for your child or your family's children's experiences, you should then want to seek out some change as it relates to who is your current board member in place.
Right. And then think about things like, if my child really needed help, has my child had access to a counselor, a social worker? I mean, what do they participate in any kind of group sessions or any kind of mentorship programs or anything like that that's available for them at the school? I mean, or has my child just been dragged down by the resource officer? Okay, you got to come out of class right now. I mean, think about the who's interacting with your child too. I mean, are they understanding cultural biases? Are they understanding how to connect and relate to your child? All of these things are key factors. Okay, like so for example, so now we're going into a new school year. Now the thing about us at our school in particular, we have, and this is the first time I've seen this. I would truly say I've seen this in several years, where you have a lot of people who are not from Florida, or who've just moved down to Florida to start teaching. Like meaning that this is the first. I'm literally driving a truck trying to pull up to the school right now. I just got here. I'm just getting out my car and just pulling up. So you know that's going to be a big thing. Pay attention. Always get to know your teachers, anyone who's interacting with your child, so that you can start to understand. Okay, wait, you're not from here. Like I know I'm not from here, but I have to learn about the difference in culture here, because I know I'm not from here, so my how I process things is a little bit differently. But I try to make that connection with the kids. So pay attention to all those little small things that you're really not always going to see this time. And of course, now we don't know right now if we're going to be 100% brick and mortar, 100% online. We just don't, or it's going to be a hybrid in certain sites. So you really need to pay attention, and especially if you have not completed that declaration of intent form, that's a big thing. Has your school reached out to you and communicated? Or do you know where your child is going to school? April, what are you going to say? You are on mute.
I said I was just expressing pain. I wasn't really trying to say anything. Lifting his hand up. This when I tell you, it don't feel any better, but that's a whole nother conversation. So again, we just want parents to be their parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, and them. We need you all to be very intentional moving forward, like you've never been as intentional before as it relates to your child's education. Because I will say this, and I think Denise would agree with me, there's no more time for the excuses that we've had as it related to why District 5 is not doing better. There's no more time for it. We can no longer accept it. I won't. I need responses that are going to generate a better result for our children. Mm-hmm. I can't accept it. And again, I always say, we're not the anomaly. We're just willing to move forward in what we know God has designed us to do, God has assigned us to do, and what we're supposed to be. So we cannot see things that are not happening right for our children, where the children in the classrooms look majority like us, and we don't speak to it. Because we become a part of the problem. And I always say, I was a part of the problem, but I was trying to figure it out. Is it excusable? No, it's not excusable, but was trying to figure all this out. And when I woke up and realized what was happening, I'm like, wait a minute. And I too will say that, well, I felt as though, well, maybe I just shouldn't say anything. What will they do to me if I say something? What will happen? And I said, wait a minute. How you talking about you got faith, girl, and you around here worried about what humans gonna do to you? Take a seat.
And that's the whole philosophy.
In God in one voice, and then in the other voice, I got a whole alignment of fears of what man gonna do to
so funny. It's so funny you said that. We look at James today, and then that's exactly James chapter 1 is exactly what we talk about, having having faith, but what's not a faltering faith, the one that moves back and forth like the waves of the sea, but a steady faith. But understand too, I totally agree with you, because when you first start teaching, you're always worried about what my classroom, me, my students, my results, things like that. And you're not seeing the bigger picture, because you're just a drop in the bucket when you leave the classroom and realize the whole community is having an issue. Parenting is an issue. The children behavior is an issue. It can't just be one thing that you can try to control in your room. It's much bigger than that. So you got to speak up about it. And then also too, the big thing for me is representation. Okay, listen. District 5 is predominantly Black and Hispanic. That's District 5. Let's not put all these narratives out there that District 5, in our nice little propaganda videos, that District 5 got. Listen, I've seen some videos, I've seen some pictures, I've seen some promotional material that make you swear and believe. All you did was watch promotional videos. You'd swear there were no Black people in District 5.
And that's what predominantly District 5 is made up of.
I need you to understand, please, representation matters. Representation really matters. And if we're going to do that, we need to also just show that you have Black teachers as well in District 5. Black male teachers. Even though it's hard to find them, put a few of them on the camera, so that at least we, you promote that positivity. You're trying to get that image out there that we care, we love our kids, we want the best for our children. Please put that out there. Okay, that's important. That's all I gotta say about that. But let's move on to the programs that we have been introduced to over this past couple weeks between summer courses we have to take and pre-planning. So the first one on the list I have is Canvas. Let's talk about Canvas for a second. Anybody did the Canvas training? That 14,000 hour Canvas training, the one that lasted from 8 to 4 p.m. or 9 to 4, something like that, and still ain't learned nothing. Come to find out, a lot of these programs don't even talk to each other. Come to find out that, we can't even get a roster up. One doesn't connect to the next one, and then they just don't. But y'all don't spend millions of dollars on a program that doesn't connect to another program.
I just think that the training needed to be halted until we actually had opportunity to go through a simulation type training.
Correct.
If you're going to be on a training for that long, because just to say, oh, when the school year start up, then you'll be able to do it then. Oh, when this happens, then you'll be able to do it then. Oh, why am I on the training now, honey?
Right.
There's no need for me to be here because I'm hands-on. If I can't practice while I'm here, then just let's wait till we start the school year. Don't waste our time now.
That was literally
torture. Like, because everything we tried to do, we couldn't do it. We couldn't do any of it.
I got a sandbox that I can play in, but
right,
that's about it.
I got a sandbox. Stuff that didn't even matter.
But I can't do any practical application. That's one. So that's the big one they spent all this money on Canvas. Let's move on to the next one that I spent hours or two doing, which is called Achieve 3000. Let's talk about Achieve 3000. So I spent some time in my training class learning Achieve, which I actually like better than Canvas. And then finally, after spending that good old 90-something, 100+ minutes in training, was come to find out that it is not even for the level of kids that I teach. It is supposed to be applicable only to level 3 and 4 students.
Let's talk about that. Let's pin right there.
But yeah, I'll pause. Go ahead.
So we buy software that is designed from what I can, because I'm not a reading teacher, I'm not a language arts, I'm none of those things. I'm just measly old math. But we buy a software that is designed to improve students' fluency in either of the two, in math. And I'm saying reading, right?
Reading.
But we're going to limit it just to the higher level kids?
Yes.
Help me understand that. What did the trainer say about that?
Well, the thing about it came at the end of the training. So I was like, wait a minute. I done sat here for 92 minutes for you to tell me that I can't even use this in my classroom.
So why was you asked to attend the training?
I don't even know. No, it wasn't promoted like that either. It was just that everybody who has 2 teachers reading and language arts must take this training. So, okay. All right, I teach reading. Okay, I haven't taught language arts in several years, but I've been teaching reading for years. And I'm saying to myself, well, wait a minute. So what is my level 1 and 2 going to use? What do they use? Well, we running it back to.
We want all you elementary teachers to listen to this and middle. What are y'all going to use, Denise?
We running it back to iReady, which I've never done, and Brightfish. Say what?
Let me say this. We have been asking, I can say Cobb have, and everybody in my hallway that taught math, we have been asking to have access or gain access to the iReady that they use at elementary, because remember, 5th to 6th grade are not apples to apples, orange to oranges. They are apples and oranges, and they try to merge for math in a way. They try to merge the two sets of standards, and they don't mirror each other.
Right.
So with that being said, when a 5th grader comes to me as a 6th grade teacher, I literally have to go back at least 3, probably to the 3rd grade FSA scores and try to decipher where their strengths were there. Because other than that, the data that has been collected over time is really not that useful to me. Even their 5th grade FSA scores, it's really not. It's useful, but it's not that useful. I still have to do the pretest, try to several pretests to try to capture where their strengths are. And with them already coming level ones, yeah, the iReady data would do a good old 6th grade teacher some good. So I could see where they were demonstrating trends in their weaknesses and trends in their actual strengths. But guess what? Never was afforded the opportunity to get it. So I wonder now,
if
will
you'll
I
get
be
it in
able to
math.
gain access to it now? I wonder now if we will get it.
To me, I think that would be great because, okay, maybe somebody out there in magical land is actually listening to the fact that we said that the children don't have the skills. And if they don't have the skills, you can't magically move them from elementary to middle school and then give them a curriculum that is 4 levels higher than they can read and expect them to be successful. That's not going to happen. So if you want to take them back to iReady, you want to take them back and keep them on Bright Fish, even though it looks cartoonish and play little games and stuff, but they can actually get their punctuation right, their spelling right. They actually stop and process. Well, hey, maybe, okay, but I would love to see, because even at my school with the current, just looking at last year's students, you may have a class, if you're teaching language arts and you have a 3s and 4s, that's a class of 10 kids, maybe 15. You spending a whole lot of money on just a few kids that might need it, because you don't have 3s and 4s like that.
Well, let's even dig down a little bit deeper though. It does exist, just not where we have been exposed to classrooms full of 3s and 4s.
True.
Because when I did work at Adams and while I was a part of teaching the advanced honors kids, yes, I would have classrooms full of them.
Right.
But now advanced classes at the school site where I'm at now, or even, the kids aren't genuinely advanced kids. Their scores are not that. So it is what it is, but we also have to be realistic in saying that a child being put forth advanced curriculum in front of them and their skill set does not match that because they lack proficiency in so many of the standards, you're setting them up for failure. That's what's happening. You gave them a title of advanced honors or advanced, but realistically, that's not what their skill set has been, has shown.
And also to just remember that, things where the child may be advanced in an elementary class, when they get to middle school, the skill sets change. Everything is built upon the previous year, so the levels change. And so, for example, even if they're in 6th grade and they have an advanced class, by the time they start taking the tests and moving up, then by 7th grade it may not be considered an advanced student. So that's important to look at right there too. So do we have any? Let me see. Oh, we don't have any comments right now, at least not on my screen. I don't know what you have on yours, but I do want to say thank you. Say hey to some people. Alicia, hey, I see you on there. Tamika, welcome. Sybil, how you doing? And Terry and Vanessa, hello. How you doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. So, but anyway, listen, parents, so just understand that there's different computer programs to learn. ESB is still in effect. Of course, the way it is right now, it looks like ESB is a platform for us to do grades, but then Canva is for curriculum. But I don't know. I just, until it merges together, all we can do is
no, they don't merge. No. They won't merge together. They don't talk to each other. So that's not happening. Canvas and ESB do not talk to each other. They're not in, what's the word? Bianca, help me.
Compatible.
They don't integrate. They don't integrate with one another.
Okay. There's something that just okay.
They don't. Lord. They're not designed that way.
That's so sad. Anyway, so now we have professional study day that's going to come up, which is going to be tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to assume every single person has a unique course that they have to take. I think now this year, the interesting thing about it is that you have to register now.
You got to register 2 times.
Yes. Okay. Explain your experience with the registration. Go ahead.
So you have to register. You have to basically register for your professional study day, but depending upon what your content is or your career tech ed or your elective is. You have to identify that. Your leadership should have given you that information, or your department head or whoever your supervisor is for that particular elective. And what you do is you basically have to go add that course to your dashboard on Canva. So it's a multi-step process. Please do not wait until 5 minutes before you have to go on, because that's going to take you at least about 15 minutes or so.
Just
Now,
to
if
get it
you
set
like
up.
me, it took me about 15 minutes. Now, once you do that, if you want your points for a professional study day, you better roll right on over to your ideas, log in, departments, professional development, and register for that same professional study day course. Otherwise, you won't be generating an evaluation in order to collect your points. So, with that being said, you got to register those times.
Do you hear all that? Just run it back when you get a chance to sit down and run this because do you hear that? This complex. Okay, I just don't know. I don't. Okay, it's complex. Let's just say that. And please go ahead if you haven't done it. Once you get off the waves with us. Please make sure that you. And if you have not registered, please go ahead and get it done because that's super important for tomorrow professional study day. Now, in terms of what your individual schools are doing, I'm not sure. I'm quite sure for the rest of the week. You're either going to be working in the classroom, figuring out your team meetings, working out your meetings with your whatever department that you're part of. So now keep in mind, guys, too, though, pay attention to the weather. Now it looks sunny and beautiful over here by me right now. What's the name of this storm? This storm is called and I wrote it down phonetically. Isaias. Isaias is the name of the storm. Is that what it's called? Okay, so the tropical storm is apparently right now off of the west. What coast is it? The East Coast? It's over that off on the Jacksonville side, on that side over there. Okay, so
Jacksonville, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Was it Fort Pierce?
The outer bands are hitting towards Orlando. We got a little bit of rain earlier, so I think we should be fine. But still, just be cognizant to pay attention to the weather. Okay, going back to the other thing. What did they extended the meal service throughout the next 2 weeks. Okay, so yes, go ahead. So what is specifically was it? How many meals are the kids getting? Are they getting the breakfast and the lunch as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they just have to go back to their regular, whatever school they're registered at, and then pick up the lunches from there. Okay,
they don't have to go back to they don't have to go back to their registered school, just the school that's in their area that they've normally been picking up their summer lunches. It's the same concept. It's just that he extended it an additional 2 weeks.
Okay, great. All right, great. So let's see. Hold on 1 second. Register soon. Okay, Tiffany said register sooner than later. PDS wasn't even working earlier today. Yeah.
Right.
So, right. That was where the struggle was. That was definitely where the struggle was because we definitely were having issues with it, and that's why I secured a district laptop because I was like, I know I can't get it done on my own laptop.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that doesn't hold true for me. I have a district laptop, but I cannot do anything I can't do any of what I did at your house on my laptop here. That means that my laptop has evidently timed out of updates and like it need updates. So I would have to drive my laptop to the nearest school, turn it on, let it get the updates. And I was also told I might have to plug it into a wall port. I don't know. But all I know is my computer doesn't do any of that you did. I can't even log into my ideas. When I log on, it just turns to a white screen. So that's why I was checking all the emails and stuff at your house and responding there because I can't see it. So all the emails that I hadn't seen that I needed information from, that's what I was doing. I was forwarding them to my Gmail account because I won't have access to it from home until I get to the school.
Yeah, because you figure mine was not the newest laptop, but it definitely, I noticed in I think it was sometime in June, I noticed it took a whole bunch of updates. I was like, well, this is interesting. I got up and just going through my email, I started looking at the thing, it automatically started updating in the middle of the night. I said, well, that's interesting, but I'm able to do it. So thank goodness. And the reason I kept the laptop is because I know I had to take all these courses during the summer. And so they're grateful for that. But like I said, with the PDS, it's a process. So you really want to make sure that you get on there because this thing's gonna be a mess. Okay. All right. So
also, there's an extension for your course evaluations that you have taken throughout the summer, and that is extended through August the 10th. So if you have evaluations that you have not done for courses that you haven't taken, please don't go through the hardship of having to figure out how to get them to reinstate it because a lot of times individuals that have taught that class, you can't get in touch with them. They may not be training anymore. They may no longer be in the district, and then you won't have proof of you taking the course and not doing it in a timely fashion, meaning your evaluation. So make sure you go in and do your course evaluations before August 10th. The initial deadline, I believe, was August. I'm saying not August, July 31st. But now they've extended it.
Right. And that's super important. Also to make sure that, just looking at, I think they also sent an email about everybody, especially people who are new to the district, make sure you update everything that you need to update at your home school. Make sure that's updated. Things like, your address, your current phone number, make sure especially if they have to mail out, paper checks. So for those of you who haven't received your direct deposit yet, make sure you get that, go ahead and sign up for CTA if you need to. There's all kinds of things that need to be done. So make sure you're taking advantage of it and do it now while we supposedly have downtime. That's what they call it. Since we're not in front of any students right now, these are the utilize the time and opportunity to try to get as much of your paperwork done. Because let me tell you this, paperwork, people don't seem to understand something about teachers. We are paperwork heavy people. There's so much paperwork we have to fill out. Toward the end of last school year, with the slew IEP paperwork that came in and paperwork for, we got to do attendance forms, or we have to do this form for that, and closing out the curriculum, and just so much paperwork. It's better to get out ahead of it than let it stack up behind you, because that's the worst feeling in the world when you have to do that. Okay.
So Tamika had a question. She says, so who chooses the curriculum? There seems to be a lack of understanding of the student population. Well, that is a good question. I'm assuming all the supervisors choose the curriculum. And when you lack a culturally, a diverse group of people to be able to speak voice to what would be beneficial for a certain population of children, then you lack that the diversity of options that comes back as it relates to what curriculum is going to be used. Because I don't believe there's one set of curriculum that should be used for all children. I never believed that. I just think that there should be choices and options put forth by the district. But I can't say this to you, Tamika. Any curriculum that's brought forth to a teacher, in all honesty, they don't have to use any of it. What they have to do is make sure that they can provide documentation of them being whatever they're choosing to use is in alignment with producing, in alignment with the standard, that what they're needing to meet in the standards requirement is going to be taught as relates to whatever it is that they're using. But they don't have to use any of it. So that requires a lot of work on the teacher's behalf to go out there and search for that material that they need, but they don't have to use any of it. It's suggested. That's the key word. It's suggested.
And I agree with that because, I teach reading. So the big thing for me is, okay, this is what you have to put in front of the kids, but I'm looking at my actual kids in front of me. I'm looking at my kids in terms of, the first thing I'm looking at is the data. All right. Then I look at, okay, well, let's see, what's the actual demographics of the class. Now I'm looking at, okay, what's the interest level? Because you always take that I call it the book soup, and say, okay, if I had to make a soup with your favorite interests, okay, throw them together and let's find some books that you can pull out. Okay, well, I like sports, miss. I like adventure. I like sci-fi. And I like, sometimes I like a little history stuff. Okay, cool. Well, let me find some books in the soup just for you. But if you throw a general curriculum out and you throw it out there and it's based on whatever, something that's so far off topic or far off away from the kids, it's like, really, that's why, just like you said, it does take a lot of work. I work hard to build my library up because I want to make sure that they're still engaged with reading. Even when they have their independent reading time, they are reading something, because I don't want them to sit there and act like there's not a book in here that I find of interest. What were you going to say?
That would be called that you are a culturally relevant teacher.
Oh, that's correct. Correct. Culturally. Oh, look at that. Oh, isn't that something interesting? Oh, where'd you go? Yes, culturally relevant. Because guess what? If I've got 6 boys and all of them are on the baseball team, there's going to be a whole bunch of baseball books up in there. Because that's what they find of interest. And it doesn't matter as long as they're reading. The bottom line is that when you catch me reading, that's what they're supposed to be doing. Catch them reading. There was a kid, there was one book, just the cover alone is what got it, because it was a picture of a black man holding a whole bunch of library books. What's this book about? Well, guess what? This book's about a man who built a library, a black man who built a library. Well, I like it because look, he looked like me, tall and skinny. Look at that. Now he's interested because of the cover of the book. So it's so important because I'm gonna tell you, those simple things like that turn kids off or they turn them on when it comes to reading. And remember, this is a subject that they don't want to be a part of. I don't want to go to no reading class. They go, what they call it, the boom boom class. I don't want to be in no boom boom class. I know how to read. Okay, it's not a boom boom class. Everybody needs to take this class because it's to help you improve what you already know how to do. Okay, so that's why we need to have that. And then also with the curriculum in terms of, okay, let's go back to history. We were having that issue at the top of summer. Let's talk about history.
I think you forgot about it already. You know,
right.
Notice how the outrage, the concern about curriculum and all of that, and the teachers are doing such a great job. The emotion has, become at a plateau to where now it's not that important for some.
Right.
So we need y'all to keep that energy up because right now some teachers are getting ready to end the classroom and some of them going to be fighting for their lives in order to keep themselves protected from not, acquiring COVID.
Right.
COVID.
Yeah, but understand too. Yeah, exactly, and understand the cultural relevance. Okay, there's people gonna walk into that classroom in terms of civics and your history classes, things like that. Listen, these kids have spent the summer watching Black Lives Matter movements and all this stuff like that. They want to know about themselves. Every once in a while, every couple of days, I'm posting something in my page about, that's an African history lesson or a Black history lesson, and it takes only a few minutes to introduce that into your class. Especially those of us who are going to be online. Listen, there's a million YouTube videos out there, 3 to 5 minute videos that introduce the life of some Black person in America or in Africa, a king, a queen. So you may tell me you can't take 5 minutes out of class and introduce that to a class that you have that's predominantly Black. Why is the entire lesson have to be based on, okay, we're going to talk about the founding fathers again? Well, a lot of the founding fathers were slave owners and rapists. So I mean, what do you want?
Legs,
please. Just throw them out there. I mean, come on.
What were they, Denise?
A lot of them were slave owners. They were rapists. Some of them were, they were killing Black people, lynching, hanging. They believed in a segregated South.
What were they again? I don't think they heard you. One more time for the people in the back. One more. They were what? What were they?
They were slave owners and rapists. I mean, are you kidding me? They killed off the Native Americans. They stole their land. Okay, they took things from them. They came into a country that was not theirs and decided to claim it. So while you out there talking about the founding father, and he on the back of the quarter and the nickel and the dollar bill and the $5 bill and the $100 bill, you ain't talk about the truth. The reason why we can't respect Black people because they were slaves, but they built this country. So why are we not teaching that in the school? Maybe the kids will have a better attitude if you taught them the truth. And didn't just teach them only about slavery, but teach them about their origin. Ask a child about Mansa Musa. You won't find adults who don't know about Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the richest man on the planet. You imagine how much money, you got to have for you to travel through a country and change the economy. That's how much money he had. He spent money so hard that he devalued other people's money. To the point where it's like, oh, well, I got $1, but my dollar ain't even worth nothing because Mansa Musa came through here and just stopped balling and bought up everything that I had. I can't do nothing with this money because everybody got gold. How you gonna spend gold when everybody got gold? That's how balling he was. Just threw money around.
Mansa Musa had Bitcoin money.
But
Bitcoin money back then.
But the kids don't know a thing about him, and the teachers that are teaching them don't know anything about him either. I asked 2 civics teachers this summer about him. They were like, who? But the population in your class is 90% Black. So this year, the charge this year. The charge this year is I don't want to hear no more about Harriet Tubman. I don't want to hear about Martin Luther King. I don't want to hear about what's her name that rode the bus?
Rosa
Parks. I don't want to hear about none of them. I don't want to hear. Listen, these children should be coming through. When I walk through and I start asking questions, they should be telling me about people that no one has ever taught them about before.
And let's talk about the several schools that are in Hillsborough County that many parents aren't outraged about that are named after them same people that you said were what? What were they doing?
Rapists and things like that. They
Oh
killed
yeah,
off
they're
Native
they're named after some of those types of people. And yeah, I wonder if Broward Elementary is one of them.
Lee. Well, Lee ain't changed the name now.
Lee.
But I'm just
So
saying.
let's not just pick on Lee. Let's go through and clean them all up.
Yes.
There's like about 8 of them, and there was a what would you call it? Not a survey, a petition that was going on about that as well. I can't recall when that was, but we'll make sure that it's pinned below when we get off of here. But yeah, to talk about these other schools that are named after some individuals that were not so great to people of color.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like there's a fear of the truth. Don't be afraid of the truth. I mean, don't be afraid of the truth. It's like you want people to have one side of the truth that is the only side you want. Basically, I call it the Disney version side of the truth. If you actually knew the origin of some of these Disney stories, you would be terrified to tell them to your children. Little Mermaid was a horror story. Okay,
yes. When you told me that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, these things were horror stories, and they were designed that way to scare children into submission, to teach children how to behave. Don't trust strangers. That was Hansel and Gretel. Okay, the Little Mermaid. Okay, you selling your soul for something that you want. That's what that's all about. I mean, come on. But everybody wants the Disney version of stuff. If you just be real honest and tell people about who people really are.
And we're no longer accepting the Disney version of stuff for District 5.
Right.
Legs. And parents, we need your help. Community leaders, we need your help. We need y'all help with that. We don't want no more Disney.
Listen, Disney version is when you know your district is predominantly Black, but you got a bunch of white kids in the picture.
Like, where did we go? Did we disappear? Like, could we not find any?
Wait a minute. I make myself laugh, but anyway. Listen, that's like somebody having cancer, and they just say, oh no, it's nothing, it's just a cough. I mean, don't cover up stuff. Don't make it look better. Don't put pretty words around it. And also, don't use other people's data to now use it as your platform like you've been always doing it the whole time.
Wait, let me stop. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. Let me just say this. I have not heard school to prison pipeline so much in the last 30 days than I have in my 22 years of teaching. I have not heard it that much.
They talk about diversity now.
Diversity, equity, implicit bias training.
Everybody talk. I mean, the things that people are saying right now that we've been saying for years.
But we just was disgruntled progressing teachers.
That's the whole thing. Okay, don't you say don't know that we can see right through that? This is an election year. Of course, you're going to say the things that need to be said. Of course, you're going to make sure that you open your mouth and say all the perfect, pretty words that need to be said so we can get reelected or we can get in the seat or whatever. Like them. Understand something? People tired of y'all fake stuff. We tired. And we sick of it.
Say this to all board members. If you have not, exactly, all board members, keep in mind, it should have never been a point of District 5 being at in the position that they've been in for whatever amount of time that you've been a board member. Because even though y'all act in silos and all this other good glamorized things that you all do as board members with the titles, sometimes that's the way it's perceived. Y'all know what's happening in District 5. You can't ignore it. You know what's happening. You know what's happening. Because the magnet schools that sit in District 5, the ones that are educationally healthy. Let me just make up something right now. The health of their students' education exhibited through their FSA scores and their fair testing and so on and so forth. You can see what's going right in those schools. For example, Williams Middle Magnet. It sits in the heart of East Tampa. And every time I think about this, I get so damn upset. How can you be on the same walking, I'm gonna say sidewalk, the same grass that's separated by a gate. And James was allowed to suffer the way that they did for all this time. With the child can jump the gate and be in Williams' backyard. How did that happen? There's no excuse for that. But then we want to sit around and act like, oh, that's not how it didn't happen. Oh, the children are doing well. Oh, that's because they're a magnet school. Well, whatever they provided at that school, why they couldn't provide it over at James? When you work at Williams Middle Magnet, you can walk to James in less than 2 minutes. And if you ran, you'll be there in 30 seconds. There's no excuse. So community leaders get mad. I don't care. You knew about it too. I know I told everybody that I knew that I came across about it. I talk about it all the time. But now it's like the level of awareness has been heightened because it's time for us to vote. What the hell?
Right, exactly. And that's what's so horrible about it. It's like as if to say you looking at you telling the kids in the neighborhood you're not good enough to be right.
Hold on, there. Denise. Hold on. Mm-hmm. So Jeanette says the population from Williams comes from outside of the community. Kids must test in. Jeanette, I think I know that. That does not excuse still that the kids that attend would not all of them are from outside the community. But my point that I'm making is you know the grade that Williams Middle Magnet have, and you also know the grade that James Elementary have. So why aren't we putting that same level of attention and being intentional about making sure that those kids that's over at James get what they need? That's my point that I'm making for decades in the past. I get how the kids get in there. That's not the question.
Let me put it real basic then. Let me put it basic like this. It's like y'all got the same mother, but your daddy over here, he treat this child better than the other child. That's all it is. Okay, so I see you and you, the two of y'all in the same house, but because your daddy a little different and he got a little bit more money, he gonna treat you better and make you feel more special as other child. But y'all live in the same house. So you can see, because if you can see across the street, where's the magical funding that's put in the same district? Where's the funding? Because if that school can get all this, what happened to these set of kids? So basically, what the comment you're saying is, it's the same thing should be applicable to my school. Well, my school's sitting on D's and F's and could barely scrape off a C, even though these teachers working like slaves, and we just barely scraping a C. Well, all our kids are neighborhood kids. We supposed to be a magnet too. Why our school ain't got hitting numbers like that?
And these same neighborhood schools, they produce some pretty good people out of them, because a lot of them right now, they're over living in Riverview. Ruskin, Brandon, Delta, Lutz. So what happened to the quality of those schools to where now they cannot produce the same quality education that they did back then? Because if we're talking about innovation, shouldn't the schools have gotten better?
Right.
I'll wait.
Right. And what happened to all the money? Because, looked like money was spent. So somehow that school got the money of all the other millions of dollars that got spent that disappeared and then nobody can account for. But that school probably they magically got some funds. How that happened? Whew. We can't. Let's just say this. We can't excuse our way through this. The time for excuses is done. My excuse is I pulled some white kids from a smart, rich neighborhood, and that's why that school doing better. That we can't excuse that situation. That's ridiculous. So it's basically you just taking a dump on the kids in the neighborhood. It's basically what you're saying. What you really saying is that, guess what? These kids don't matter because they live here in this neighborhood. They're on the block, so they worthless. Their lives have no value. That's basically what that meant right there.
That's our opinion. We all have them.
I stay right here in East Tampa. You can come on through.
But as a teacher, working in them good old trenches, right? Our experiences are different, and what we see is different. That's it. Teachers.
How about I apply to work over there and see if they accept me or reject me? Let me see something. In fact, I would just, just for giggles, I would just go ahead and put an application in just to see what happened. What had happened was, yeah. But you know what? They're not gonna take me anywhere because I'm elementary certified. I'm middle of high school, so maybe I'll go back to
That's
some research.
Williams Middle Magnet. They.
You're right. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about James. Okay, no. I was gonna go over there and see if I could make a difference. I was gonna make a difference, but apparently I'm still not qualified. I'm not qualified elementary. But let me apply at Williams and see what happens. Y'all give me a holler. I'm gonna go in there and see who I gotta talk to, who I know. See, let me tell you, they got my blood pressure hot right now. I'm hot.
You know what my question is about this too is, I was thinking like for the kids that are being bused over here to Williams, and now that they're opening up Sumner this upcoming year, and all those schools that are in their community, so that their parents don't have to drive with their luxury vehicles to come over, and in the hood,
they might lose some people.
I wonder if the kids are at some point going to be rezoned to attend the schools that's close to them.
Right.
I wonder if.
Because from what I could tell, they got some fancy desks with laptops
What?
built in and rolling desk chair. I'm like, yo, what? Maybe I should apply to work over there. I mean,
take about 30, 45 minutes a day to get there.
They ain't got no AC problems. The school brand new.
Let's let the people get in first. Let's let them get in first to find out. Look, but allegedly they got some COVID going on over there though, so I don't know.
Let's just bring it back to COVID before we close out. You're right. Okay, so listen, people, all this back and forth and inside out and whatnot like that. But let's just talk. We're dealing with middle school. Here, I'm gonna pop out two scenarios that should frighten any parent. And I posted on my page earlier too. Everybody gonna want to send their kids to school if you have the equipment with these pretty little masks and things like that. Now you know how kids are. I just want to give you a scenario because kids love to share. Okay, say I got a SpongeBob mask and my bestie got, I don't know, something I like. Oh, she got Paw Patrol. Okay, let me hold your mask for the day. Let's be real. These are scenarios that will occur. Kids share cell phones. They share pens. They share stuff. What if your child comes in and got a hold
on. Let me show you the main thing that they do, which I never understood. So Susan,
waterfall,
and drunk out the whole Gatorade the whole time.
Yeah, like this.
Then the friend come back and say, "Let me waterfall." What the?
Let me get waterfall.
I'm like, what? Do you realize?
It's higher
too. Like, still there.
Your lip all across this bottle, and now I gotta get a waterfall.
I said, if the person's drink that own it did not waterfall, you're still getting some of their saliva that automatically goes back in the bottle.
I need to understand parents, and you know what I need parents to wake up understand. Listen, as much as you swearing on your life, my child ain't gonna do this when she get to school, when he get to school. I'm here. Let me do it like a Baptist preacher. I'm here to tell you. I just stopped by to tell you. Your child gonna do it. Oh, my child.
Especially if their boyfriend, especially if they got a boyfriend, they got to make sure that each other know that they together. And they got to switch masks. They got to do that because they switch jackets. Sometimes they have on each other's shoes, the necklaces, all that, and they ain't seen each other for months.
Listen, if you want to believe, one parent told me, my child, she only use her phone when she on the bus. I said, let me take you mind if I take a picture of your child? You sure? Oh, yeah, she don't do it. What's that? She on the phone right now. I'm going to get her when she get home. I said, well, that's all right. Let's get on the phone and call. Let's get on the chat. Since we all on the phone together, we got a full chat going. I said, your mama say you shouldn't be on the phone, but, you see. So I need you to understand. Parents, you're going to believe that they're not going to do it, but we wouldn't lie to you at all. They didn't pay us to lie to you. We telling you the absolute truth. If I got paid to lie to you, I should be rich, okay? But right now, even the truth they don't pay me for. So here I'm gonna give you the truth for free. As much as rules and regulations as you give your middle school student, I promise you, when they get around their peers, they are not going to hear or listen to or believe a thing you have set in place. I'm telling you, Listen, one child, the parent was telling me his child don't ever play games except for at home. I said, can you please tell me what his Fortnite account thing, whatever is? Can you log into Fortnite yet? I said, let me know if he's on the game right now. He said, oh my God, he's playing the game right now. I said, sir, I don't lie to you. They don't pay me to lie to you, sir. I'm just telling you what I see with my own 2 eyes. That's all I'm telling you. So just keep those things as precaution because we're concerned about it COVID spreading. And like we said before, the age group is 5 to 17. And that's the age group that goes to school. Be careful.
Make sure yes, that's the key thing is be careful. If a parents that have to send their kids back, we get that. Just try to start coaching your kid on the importance of the mask and, trying to avoid, putting themselves in a position of where they can become, more, the possibility is more so for them to contract the COVID-19 because we know there's nothing 100%. If you're not in the confinements of your home, only you, and never leave the home, then you really can't control it. But you surely can reduce the possibility of you, getting the virus. So just use your better judgment. Teach them now. Explain the importance because nobody wants to be that teacher. Well, there's going to be some teachers that they're going to freak out regardless because of the lack of cultural competence, but that's a whole nother story. But some of them have been taught to wear the mask under their nose because that's what they've seen adults do. So don't freak out about that. Teach them the importance of keeping the mask over their nose and mouth. Tell them that they don't have to take the mask off to speak because you still can hear them. It may be a little muffled, and that's the case. Then they need to move back the 6 feet distance and then remove the mask. Hand washing is so important. There's no more rinsing anymore. Like soap is like the money of the world right now, and disinfectant solutions. And when a teacher asks you to wipe down your space when it's time to go, that is very important that you do it, intentionally. Don't just do it because when you do things, it's better. You better not have done it. You rather had not done it at all because it won't have the same impact. Like there's so many things that you can start preparing your children for, conversation and practice so that they're prepared. I was watching a couple of toddlers, and I can't remember what was I doing. Yes, I do know. I was picking up a package from the post office, and everybody's social distance and so on and so forth. I probably make mine a little bit exaggerated. I stand about 10 feet away. And there was these 2 toddlers, and I'm telling you, they were running around playing, and they never touched their masks. They never touched them. So nosy me, when I look screaming over at the mom, what did you do to keep them kids keeping the mask on? She said, we've been practicing, and I provide them treats when we're out, once we get home, to show how well they done it, and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, So that required the parent to do something before they got to school, like manners. Yeah, like manners.
Right. Things that should be taught from home. But the key parents to everything is, and that's what I'm going to say, the key is that you tell them they have to respect what the authority figure is telling them to do. Because all we're concerned about is their health and safety and our health and safety at school. If someone is telling you, hey, just keep the mask on, stay back, stay in your area, spread out, that's to help them. Prep them from now by letting them know these are things to help you, to make you safe, to keep you healthy. And that's the most important thing right there. Right?
So don't forget about the 2 surveys that are out there. Remember the one for the school board members, it expires at midnight, if I'm not mistaken, on August the 8th.
August 10th.
No,
right?
August the 8th. So therefore, it's very important for you all to, if you would like to express your what do you want to call it? Evaluation for individuals that, have been leading our district for those 4, I think it's 4 questions, 4 key principles that are part of their job responsibility. Go do that. And if you want to share something on, anonymously share something on the Padlet document, make sure you do that as well, because again, it's just a safe space for you to share what's going on in your world as an educator. And again, since our voices seem as though was not, sought out the majority, without questionnaire, you know, that generate a certain narrative, then maybe this might be your way to just unleash some steam.
Right.
And I do have a shameless plug.
Go ahead.
Be sure to support the paparazzi twins.
I got help. Here's the shameless plug. Okay, go for it. Say it.
When I tell you all, the paparazzi twins 2-pack, aka the Colonels, are doing so well with their popcorn business. Remember, they are curators of healthy heart snacks. So this is just one of the items that they're going to be selecting to have on their resales of healthy heart snacks. So therefore, again, support that. This is graffiti, which is vanilla based. And
this one
is
chocolate.
Which is your chocolate base. They also have the Colonel, which is your kettle corn, and we have Sweetie, which is your caramel. And again, they put a lot of work into this. They're continuously doing their research. When I tell you, you thought these jokers was raised on a farm, because they could tell you about the different types of corn, dead corn, flint corn, popcorn, all the kind of corns, which corns can be used for humans, which corn is used for feed for animals. They done visited virtual corn factories. Like, they put in a lot of work. So again, with any child that's entrepreneurship, please support them. Please, please, please. So even if it's not mine, support one of the entrepreneurs that I helped launch this summer.
Yep. Excellent job. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So that's really all we have for this evening. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to join us. And listen, surveys, focus, vote, and just above all too, keep us all lifted up in prayer. And I'm talking about everyone, not just teachers alone, students and parents, anybody who's guardian over children. Just keep us all, anybody who has to make decisions regarding education, lift them up in prayer and put their heart where in the mindset of how God wants us all to be and how we should treat each other. Okay, guys, and that's all I have this evening. It's the Diva D. No one like me.
I guess you might as well say carved out divas, since you just said the wrong thing.
With Diversity, Equity, and Education, and you are?
April Cobb with Diversity and Equity and Education, hosted by Teacher for the Culture. And again, do your part, because if you stand by idly and see what's happening and you don't say something, you are part of the problem too.
Yes, you are.
That's all we got, guys. Oh, the finger.
Oh, now I'm.
Woohoo! Woohoo!